Hey there. Let's go real deep and tactical and specific into food. I love food, and it's really what got me going on this good and bad. Let's talk exactly about what you can eat for your main meals, for your afternoon snack, and how to get through the day. And no generalities, but just very tactical, very exacting. So here's my favorite ideas. And let's start off with breakfast, because this is so critical. Breakfast, there's two tracks that work really well. There's shakes and there's regular food. And I'll talk about exactings. Shakes, you want to have fiber, you want to have quality protein, and you want it to be palatable. So a couple of options. We've made it all-in-one, the Reset Shake, which honestly, that with water, good to go, and it's amazing for a lot of reasons. There's a thing called resistant fiber, which gives you 6 to 9 hours of stable blood sugar, totally magic, if you get a high enough dose. There is some in some foods, but it's difficult to get a high enough amount without eating a lot of some foods. So that's one easy way to do it. Now, the other way is to engineer your own. And to do that, you want a couple things. You want some protein. I love vegetable-based protein powders like pea. There's also a new thing called hydro beef, which is beef-based protein, and it's free of fat and cholesterol, and the better ones are very clean. You want ones that are from grass-fed New Zealand source beef, very important. So a serving of that, which would be 25 grams for a woman, 25 grams, or 35 grams for a man, assuming average sizes. So you got the protein. Now you want some liquids with that. If you're trying to improve your weight, just use water, it works fine. If you're steady and wanting to maintain, you could do some unsweetened coconut milk. I also love unsweetened flax milk. You want about a half a cup of that. Seeds work well. You get some fiber, you get some lignans, you get some essential fats. Chia is awesome. Chia seeds are wonderful for this. Drop in 2 tablespoons. Now, apart from those things, a little bit of fruit, not a ton. Do half a cup of berries, especially blackberries or raspberries, and throw in some greens. You're going to be amazed. You won't even know they're there. They won't have any negative taste impact. Handful of spinach or a little chunk of frozen spinach. It'll work out well in the blending. And hit go, that's breakfast. Breakfast is good to go from that. The other course for breakfast is food. One of my favorite things is just having some seafood. Wild salmon, cooked the night before, or smoked salmon. Now, a trick about that is Nova Lox will be a bit lower in salt, lower in sodium. So one of my favorites is Nova Lox, typically about a 3-ounce serving, and also steamed vegetables and some cold potatoes. So here's how that works. The steamed vegetables, I love doing broccoli, cauliflower, bok choy, and then I'll typically do some fermented vegetables. There's really good things now if you hit your Whole Foods or your farmers markets to where you can get artesian fermented vegetables, like really good versions of sauerkraut or kimchi. So a dab of that, a few ounces of smoked salmon, steam some veggies up really quickly, and then some good carbs. You don't need a lot, but 2 ways to go. One is navy beans, just canned. Canned is actually fine for these. Get organic versions that only have the beans and the salt. Give them a good rinse, and you want a 1/4 cup. The other option is I love having boiled potatoes in the refrigerator. Boil a small batch of baby potatoes. They've got purple potatoes, if you've not seen those. Those are basically like blueberries. They've got those same types of pigments. So boil them, throw them in the refrigerator. So take those out, also about a 1/4 cup serving. Do not heat them. This will give you that resistant fiber as well. So that's my other favorite breakfast. So do a shake, do some food. You can throw this one together in just a couple minutes. This one is like no time. So those are both good ways to go for breakfast. Now, mid-morning, do you do a mid-morning snack? If you're on the Reset program and you're trying to achieve your best weight, sure, do veggies. Get some cherry tomatoes, get some sweet peas, some carrot sticks, some broccoli, some cauliflower florets, some celery sticks. Have snacks. Those are great things to snack on, and no worries about them. If your weight is stable and you're wanting just to maintain your energy, do a handful of raw nuts or seeds. Do a half a piece of fruit. That's an easy option too. So now we're at lunch. What do you do for lunch? Here's my favorite trick. So lunch comes from dinner. And dinner, you've made some type of a lean protein, some type of vegetables. So this can be the salmon again. This could be some beans or legumes. This could be some lean poultry. Maybe you cook some on the grill. So the dinner the night before, grab that, grab some of the vegetables that you cooked, and throw that into a salad. So you can get some washed, mixed organic baby salad greens, and those are so handy. So you put in about 2-3 cups of greens, put a piece of 3 to 4 ounces of your protein, and add in some of the veggies as well. And one thing we want to do too is get some slow-burning carbs. Lots of good options. You can have some roasted vegetables on hand. I love getting a big roasting tray and doing beets and turnips and sweet potatoes and rutabagas, all these kind of peasant starches they're called, and having those cooked and already available. So you want about a half a cup. The other good standbys for salads would be chickpeas or kidney beans. They also work wonderful. Another cool one you can try is cooked kasha, which is toasted buckwheat. So same thing, a half a cup, drop that on. You now have a salad. Add some lemon juice, a little dash of extra virgin olive oil, maybe some macadamia oil instead. There's a seasoning called Spike that I love, which is all herbs and spices. A few shakes on that, that's lunch. And it's perfect and it's fast. You made it in no time. So mid-afternoon, maybe you make a run to Starbucks. How can we do that well and do it differently? The last book, I logged a lot of time in Starbucks, and I'm the most caffeine sensitive you could ever imagine. So I really didn't do that. I really don't do sugar. But I learned that you've got some pretty easy options. So there's Refresh tea, which is a mint type tea that's very tasty. There's also Calm tea. And some of these brands and names will vary, but they've got some very good herbal teas. If you're not very sensitive, you could sure do a bit of a green tea in the afternoon and still do okay with that. You would not want coffee in the afternoon. That'll keep your cortisol raised up, and it won't shut down properly for your night's sleep. So do a hot beverage. There's actually some food snacks available. Now, if you're really on the reset, targeting your weight, that's the produce again. And many Starbucks that I've been in, they've got little packs of fresh produce snacks. Totally good to go. So easy thing. The other option is that many have raw nuts and little packages of almonds. Most have bananas. You can grab a banana. And there's also this thing I've seen that they have, it's a bar, and it'll have like 2 ingredients, like apple and blueberry, and that's it. And it'll have like 1 apple and 10 blueberries. They made a bar out of it. And there's like no other strange things. So even making an afternoon run, you can do it fine. You can do it totally clean. So now we are up to our dinner and practical, direct, hands-on. So have some cooked staples. Maybe you've got those potatoes still. Maybe you've got some rice or beans you cooked up before. And now we're going to add protein to that. And that can be something that's you picked up recently. Maybe you've got some more wild salmon, some poultry, some lean meat. Maybe you do some vegetable-based proteins if you're vegan or vegetarian. You've got great options that way. And saute up some vegetables. Here's one of my very favorites. So I mentioned bok choy earlier. I've got a weak spot for this stuff. Baby bok choy is such an amazingly good food. So get some baby bok choy, trim the very end of it, chop up the big white part, chop up the green parts, separate those. Get a saute pan, a cast iron or a ceramic-based nonstick. So not like Teflon and not aluminum, but get a good pan and take some toasted sesame oil. Now you want to get this from somewhere like a health food market. There's a lot of sesame oil that's poor quality that you can find from regular supermarkets, but Eden brand, ones that are clean and good are ideal. So you need just a little bit of toasted sesame oil, maybe a few drops that you work throughout the pan, and add a few drops of water. Start sauteing the white portion so they just start to get soft. Drop in the greens, just another minute or two. This might be 3-4 minutes total, till they just soften. Now add a few more drops of toasted sesame oil. There's this thing called umi, U-M-E, umi plum vinegar. Add a few drops of that at the very end and mix that together. And that's totally incredible. So the other part of our dinner, we want some healthy carbs. And we're going to do more at dinner than we will at the other times. So this can be those pre-cooked potatoes. This can be some cooked quinoa, or some beans or legumes, or those good veggie carbs too. Kabocha squash. If you've not tried that, that's one of my favorites for veggie starches. Really tasty stuff. Just quarter it, roast it in the oven for about half an hour, and that's good to go. You want about a cup of those good starches for your evening meal. And that's basically it. Good carbs, lean proteins, some veggies, and that's how the day works out. That evening meal, you're not going to want to really snack or eat afterwards. If you're really just a few days into the program, getting the hang of it, you could do a few bites of vegetables if you've got the need to munch or the need to chew. And that'll totally satisfy it. And those things will pass. Hydrate really well throughout the day, and that's how the day rolls. The things you want to avoid are really all the other processed random foods. And here's the trick. Many have an idea about, hitting the fast food joint being faster, easier, cheaper. It's none of the above. What I described to you, if you pre-cook those big staples every few days, and maybe even prep some veggies every several days, you spend less time by a big margin. You also spend less money, and you don't wreck your health. You actually feel good and function well from it. So there's some practical hands-on how to structure your day. Take it and run with it and give us some feedback. I'm going to challenge you to do one full week. Plan a weekend, get some staples, pre-cook those, see how your week plays out, and let us know how that was and how easy that was to implement and some things that changed because of it. So try it out, give us some feedback. Dr. Christensen signing out, and look forward to seeing you soon.